Welcome back to College Football Addiction. Locked on Big 12. Drake Toll, TJ Pittenger here with you. Drake, it's contrasting styles. It's a different approach, but we have this year's portal champions taking on who the last 2 years have been the Big 12 kind of favorites or quasi favorites. Like, I know last year didn't go well for them, but off to a hot start in Utah versus Texas Tech this weekend. Before we dive into the actual matchup, I do love the difference of the styles. Like Texas Tech, guns blazing, boisterous, loud. Utah, maybe their fan base, not to upset them, is that. But Whittingham, like they just go about things in a different manner, and I like that.
Can we hang banners? Like Texas Tech gets portal champions, Utah gets champion of second half against Wyoming. I think that's those.
I live in a state where one fan base, I won't call them out specifically, but they are kind of in the southern portion. I live in a state where a team has literally claimed the offseason championship now 20 years in a row after never doing anything on the field. And I know that's not Utah's situation. They've had success. But so, no, yes, I am completely okay with a team claiming offseason championships. I see it every single year. Now, Miami's pretty good. I wouldn't say who it was. Miami's pretty good this year, but for years and years and years, we've seen off-season chat. So I'm used to that. So no problems with me if Texas Tech wants to hang a banner.
I like the idea that these two teams are actually good, though. That's my favorite part, is that not only do they claim the off-season championship, but both of them look really solid this year. And TJ, I think the biggest, as you pick apart the Big 12 schedule this weekend, there are a lot of good games. The biggest travesty with this one is it's 10 a.m. local time. I saw a Utah fan tweet out, Texas Tech fans, just a heads up, don't buy alcohol before the game. We sell it in the stadium, which is not true. They're trying to make sure that Texas Tech fans are duped when they walk into a 10 a.m. brunch game in Salt Lake City this week. This deserves the eyes of the nation, and it will, by and large, get most of the country watching after big noon kickoff. But I hate the fact that for Utah fans, this isn't a 7:30, 8 p.m., 8:30 local time kick, a 10:30 Eastern type of game, because that's where Rice Eccles is truly going to be deadly. I got to go to the Holy War last year between Utah and BYU. This is one of the best atmospheres in the country, but there is not a stadium in the nation that I want to play a 10 a.m. local time game in. Even in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, it's going to be a whole lot different than nighttime and when it falls on RES. So this is a game that deserves a little bit more pomp and circumstance because of what's going to happen on the field. I wish it wasn't, again, that early kickoff, but what we're going to see are the contrasting styles meet in a way that I think a lot of people aren't expecting, because they are undervaluing Texas Tech's defense and they are overvaluing Utah's defense. Here's what I mean by that. Texas Tech offensively, not very good running the football. They don't like to run the football. If they needed to, they probably would, but they haven't needed to. Utah, conversely, TJ, against the run, Utah is 71st in the nation. Middle of the pack in the grand scheme of college football, if not below average against the run. Now, Utah's defense against the pass, number 2. Texas Tech's offense throwing the football, number 4. It's a top 5 matchup in those two categories. So what I'm looking at is people saying, well, Utah's got an incredible defense. Yeah, the run defense isn't good. Their pass defense is arguably the best in the country. Texas Tech, they got a great offense. Yeah, their run game isn't good, but they have arguably the best passing game in America. If it comes down to that, this game is going to be lower scoring than a lot of people anticipate. Texas Tech themselves against the pass are not incredible. Utah throwing the football has not been as good as them running the football. And then Texas Tech has the number 5 rush defense in the country. We are looking at two very sturdy defenses. Utah is incredible defensively against the pass. Texas Tech is incredible against the rush, but Texas Tech is not incredible against the pass, and Utah is not incredible against the rush. It's this weird dichotomy of two teams that, like you said, contrast in styles in such an aggressive way that we could see Texas Tech win this game 34-17. We could see Utah win this game 13-10, and you'll look at it and you'll go, I analytically, I see how both of those scores happen.
I'll get right back to chatting with Drake, but first, let me remind you about the Sleeper app. Sleeper is your one-stop shop for all things fantasy and sports. Whether you're just looking to check the scores or see how your favorite team is doing, or you want to watch the opposing team's fans crash out in real time in the comments, Sleeper app will get it all done for you. You can also play the more or less game with us. We play live every Wednesday on the Power 2 here on College Football Addiction. Make some money with us. You pick more or less on 2 or more players. You can win up to 1,000 times your money by using our code CFA. You'll get a 100% match up to $100. Make sure that you are checking out Sleeper's terms and conditions, their terms of use. They do apply, of course. Appreciate Sleeper for their support. Go check them out and make sure you download the Sleeper app today. You mentioned the stadium, and not to gloss over everything else you just said, we'll go back to that in a minute. But yeah, when we think about the cathedrals of college football, I had friends that were Florida friends that went out to that game a couple of years ago and said, and we think about the Swamp as one of those places. Look, I'm an FSU guy, but yes, the Swamp is a great place to watch a game. I went to their largest sellout ever in 2015, and it's phenomenal to watch a game there. The stadium's a dump, but the atmosphere is great. They even commented.
The stadium is a dump, by the way. I've been to the Swamp, and I was like, "Why is everyone sitting on top of each other? This sucks." Yeah,
but they do a good job. They do a good. They get up when their team is good. Like they get up for those games, and it is a lot of fun. I even had them commenting on how good Utah's environment was, and you'd think, oh, at that time, Pac-12, like who? It's just a team out west. Utah for Florida fans who know not only the Swamp, but know Baton Rouge and know Tuscaloosa and know, Williams-Brice and some of these big time states that they go to all the time. Knoxville, which was great this weekend. For them to comment on it, big deal. You mentioned some of the matchups. You mentioned the analytical side of things. Let's talk about quarterbacks for a minute. Both teams are 3-0, right? Like there's no, but even that UCLA win that we thought was, wow, that's really impressive in week 1, they still handled business the right way. I don't want to take anything away from Utah. We know that UCLA is and was an absolute dumpster fire, and so it's hard for me to bend over backwards praising Utah for that win now that we know that UCLA doesn't have a coach right now, and we're not even halfway through September. So just thoughts on the quarterback play that we may see here and who you may give a slight edge to, or however, if it's a massive edge, that's fine too. But quarterback play in this one will certainly play an impact. So thoughts there.
Yeah, the better of these two quarterbacks is certainly Behren Morton, but they're different quarterbacks. You're not going to see Morton run the football the way that Devin Dampier is going to. Devin has now 6 yards per rush, a couple hundred rushing yards, leads the team in that category. Last season, a lot of people like to rag him for his interception numbers last year, 12 touchdown passes alongside 12 interceptions. I think this is a different version of Dampier. He's not playing at New Mexico anymore. He's got a real offensive line. He's got real skill position players that are legit, and he has been tactical this year. His rating is 158.3, and that's a large number. It's pretty good. I'll give it to him. And I think the difference maker will be his legs, if anything. Behren Morton is not necessarily immobile, but he's the guy with 923 passing yards, 11 touchdowns, 1 interception that is okay sitting in the pocket and picking you apart. This season, on the whole, he has -5 rushing yards. That's very different from what you're getting out of the Utah offense and Jason Beck. If Morton has time in the pocket, which I do believe this Texas Tech offensive line is undervalued, if he has time in the pocket like he has had, the skill position guys for Texas Tech, his wide receivers, are good enough to get past the DBs of Utah, with Rabbit out this week as well and out long-term after lower body surgery. I think that is another hit that Utah didn't need to take in the secondary. I really do think Morton has time. The receivers are good enough to get open and get open deep. That's what Texas Tech has proven. If Dampier doesn't have time, that may give Utah an advantage. They have the best offensive line in the Big 12, the Utah Utes. But Devin Dampier, when things fall apart, is maybe at his best. He looks like his legs, he's got this weird, conglomerate of Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, name any guy with a lower body that can just do silly little things where he dips up underneath an offensive lineman, spins out of a tackle, and finds a way to hit a man downfield or run. That's what Devin Dampier has looked like. Now, take into account, neither of these teams have played anyone. I don't give a rat's butt what a Texas Tech fan says, Oregon State's... No. Or a Utah fan who's like, Wyoming on the road. No. Or UCLA. No, it's not a Big Ten team. Neither of you have beaten anyone of note to this point. And that's not a knock on you. I think each team built the right schedule to put themselves in a good position for Big 12 play this year. But now this is where you get your first real shot at competition. And for Texas Tech and Utah, there is an advantage at quarterback. With the arm, it's Behren Morton. With the legs, it's Devin Dampier. And where Devin Dampier can be 2 players in one as a quarterback who can also run so effectively, he may give Utah a really strong advantage due to his legs.
What about defensively? You mentioned some of the advanced analytics. Who's good about this? Who's good about the other? But do you think defensively Texas Tech can hold up in that environment?
Yeah, here's what it comes down to. Texas Tech being number 5 in the country against the rush. Defense travels, specifically defense against the run. And so if Utah ends up carrying the ball 33 times for 62 yards, Texas Tech wins this game. And we may see, Kyle Whittingham wants to control the clock. Kyle Whittingham doesn't mind going slow. That this offense with Jason Beck, if they can, would rather rush for 300 yards than throw for 300 yards. Because obviously in that scenario, you are controlling the game. If that's the case, Utah walks out here with a 10-point victory. But I think that Texas Tech rush defense will be the difference and ultimately give Texas Tech, in my book, the win this weekend.
Give me a score and an X factor. You just pick Texas Tech. I'll go the other way. I'll go Utah just to keep it interesting. But I'll think of a score once you're done with yours. But give me a score and an X factor.
Yeah, I think Coy Aiken's going to be the X factor for Texas Tech, wide receiver out of Stephenville, called a couple of his games in high school, and the kid is just electric. 12 receptions, 250 yards, and 3 touchdowns already. He's going to have at least 100 yards receiving this game, and maybe Baron Morton only throws for 200, but Coy's going to be a big portion of that with a touchdown or 2. He is the difference ultimately on a last-second drive. Texas Tech wins this game. Final score, a lot lower scoring than people expect, 23-20 Red Raiders.
Yeah, I promise I was thinking of this before you said it. 27-24.
All right.
24 Utah. I was going slow. I was going small, or lower scoring than maybe people would think, getting up in a Big 12 game of 35-38 or something crazy. So 27-24 Utah. I am driving to Tallahassee for our game at 3:30, so I will be watching this the entire time. I know that the local folks not thrilled about the time. I like having a good game in each window, so I'm not complaining too much.